Check out the fully Ramblematic merchandise in our Second Wind store. There's t-shirts, stickers, pins, a fully posable magnet of mead you can put on your fridge, dishwasher, or meth lab. Go to shop.secondwindgroup.com and check it out. The cringe is forcing my skeleton out of my body like toothpaste from a tube.
Her taking the suit off is part of the magic, but once she's done it, I don't know, like, you know.
There are accusations out there that I am obsessed with buckets in video games. And those accusations are true.
Boom charcuterie! He's got a point value!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm Yahtzee Crocial. I'm joined by Jay and Marty.
Hello.
Ooh.
Right, that's the formalities out of the way. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. We're talking about Metal Gear Solid because Jay just did a big video on it, and, well, we occasionally like to do these little deep dives into individual games, and me and Marty have both played it and have opinions on it. And Jay is a relative newcomer. Like, you made that video...
I'm a fresh baby.
Because you only just played it for the first time. That was the gimmick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been doing a string of like never before played retro stuff. I feel like now was the time, and one that won the vote was Metal Gear Solid. I think I've spoken before on Windbreakers that I have a familiarity with this series. I've watched a bunch of great video essays by Super Bunny Hop on the franchise. Right. Huge shout out.
But you never,
you
never actually played a Metal Gear Solid game.
Never
recent
played
ones.
Nope, not a single one. Because I'm the type of person that, like, well, unless it's Final Fantasy, I like to start the first one, and I didn't have access to it for the longest time, and then I just kept putting it off. So when new ones were coming out and all my friends were playing it, I was like, well, yeah, I'll go back and play the first one, and then go through them before I get to what was the big one, 5?
MGS, yeah, 5. But it's interesting you should say that because. This is one of the few franchises that actually benefits from going back to the first one because, as I've said before, one thing I sort of admire about it is that it has maintained the same line of continuity from the 8-bit era to today. In fact, did you start with Metal Gear Solid or did you start with Metal Gear 1 and 2?
So I realized this as I was playing. I thought Solid was like the definitive place to start, but there's a lot of narrative from 1 and 2 that come through, right?
Yes, Kojima is basically in his own little world, and the plot of Metal Gear Solid follows on from the plot of 1 and 2, and there's a lot you won't get if you're not familiar with it. But I think, like Grey Fox shows up and in Metal Gear Solid, and Snake goes, "It's Grey Fox," and that's supposed to mean something to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think a vast majority of people, myself included, started with Metal Gear Solid. Like that was it was totally a fine place to jump into, and that made eventually going back and playing Metal Gear and then Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, and then the one that Kojima didn't have anything to do with, Snake's Revenge. That made it kind of interesting to fill those things in, especially Metal Gear 2, how many of the weird kind of mechanics and quirks in Metal Gear Solid he was toying with almost a decade prior.
We think of Metal Gear Solid as like the first, but it's really the culmination of him trying to make the same game 3 times, pretty much. Because if you go back and play the original 1 and 2, there's a lot that will seem familiar if you play Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, even the UI there, like in what Eric's showing on the screen.
I mean, it feels like we describe a lot of times where like Zelda: Link to the Past almost feels like let's take another run at the formula from the original Zelda and see if we can like perfect it with this new hardware. And Super Metroid very much feels like that with the original Metroid, and then this feels like that with Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2.
But Kojima does that and maintains continuity at the same
which is
time.
Impressive. Yeah,
in a way, it's impressive. Yes, Jay. Here's a question that feel free to go into as much detail as you like.
Okay.
What is the story of Metal Gear Solid?
Oh no. So it's really interesting because I've been playing a lot of PlayStation games recently. PlayStation 1, and most of them don't have voice acting. It's all text. And in one way, I was like, I really struggle with this because I'm dyslexic and there's a lot of reading. I can't wait for voice acting. But then it got to it, and I'm like, oh no, there's so much voice acting and there's so many cutscenes. I'm finding it hard to follow. Okay, so the plot is you, Solid Snake, are being sent into Shadow Moses Island, which has had like a revolt in it, where 6 people have revolted against the establishment there and have overtaken the nuclear facility that is arming a big mecha called Metal Gear Rex.
Okay, and who are the people and what do they want?
Oh shit, this is where it gets fuzzy. So they want to fuck everything up to basically say, hey, look, we've got a nuke that can hit anywhere in the world at any point, and if we control that, we can control the world. Is that what they want? It's hard. It's hard to say.
Now that you've asked me that, I'm suddenly not sure myself. I know.
Yeah, what does this old cowboy and what does this weird clone and what do all these people? What is
this? Is dead octopus man.
Want?
Well, my first question was, who are they? And who they are is the Foxhound unit.
The Foxhound unit, yeah.
Your former allies, who like a special forces group, who have taken over a military base in Alaska because they want the body of Big Boss. I plotted this one.
And they want him because it's something to do with like his blood. Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we good? Let us know when we're good.
Sorry, chat. I think Discord is now. 1 second. Oh, fine. You're back. No, Discord stopped working. Sorry about that.
I'll be back. Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Hey, chat. Where did we leave off? What's the last thing you heard?
What? Yeah.
Well, we were talking about motivations. Why does Foxhound want to do what they want to do? Why does
we were talking about
they want Big Boss's body because of
his
blood.
Genes.
His genes can make the perfect soldier because apparently being a good soldier is a genetic thing and not a training thing, like nature versus nurture.
You will learn in the future, it might be a mimetic thing that is passed down through information, through story. So that's one thing we have to keep an eye out on.
Well, more specifically, they want Big Boss's DNA because both Solid Snake and Liquid Snake are clones of Big Boss. And the genetically enhanced soldiers that populate the island all have some of Big Boss's DNA in them, and they need some of DNA's genetic material to correct imperfections in the DNA formula.
Because Liquid believes that he is the imperfect clone, like he is the recessive.
Yes.
I think that was the language they were using.
Yes, Liquid.
I'm the recessive one.
Yes, Liquid has very poor understanding of how genetics works, and he thinks that makes him the inferior clone. Even
He's
though
got a cool accent, though.
That's
brother.
Even though that's not what recessive genes means.
It's like one of my favorite moments was I called it very early on that Deep Throat was Liquid, and I was like, oh no, he's
Deep Throat wasn't Liquid.
Wait, who was
Master Miller? Master Miller was Liquid.
Sorry, my bad.
To be Master Miller. Deep Throat was Grey Fox.
That person was that person. Oh, fucking this story, man.
Listen. As someone who's only had Metal Gear in their head for like a week or two, this is understandable because I've had Metal Gear in my head for 25 years. And it's still very confusing to me.
But it was a nice moment when he was on the call, and I was like, "This is Liquid, right?" And he like took his hair down. I was like,
and you're like, wait a minute, aren't these supposed to be audio calls? Like, we're not actually seeing each other.
Like, this is great.
It's so how does that work? I mean, there's a bit where when Oscar tells you the invisible dudes are in the elevator, Otacon gets his face really close. He gets his face really close to the camera to say urgently, warn you. And I'm like, how does that work? Does everyone have like a little floating webcam strapped to their heads?
Yeah, they're holding their codecs like this.
Yeah, everyone's doing selfies.
That moment's so good, man. Oh my god.
What did you think of the weird, kind of the weird little off-kilter gameplay quirks that Kojima throws in there? Whether it's items or secrets or ways to get through certain encounters.
That was for me. And if anyone in the chat has watched the video, it's only been out for like an hour, so I understand if you haven't, but you'll understand that is my favorite aspect of the game. Is all of those crazy little gameplay tweaks are the best. And when I think Metal Gear is the best when it's not trying to be a capital V video game. Like, I think some of the worst aspects of the game are the boss fights where they're like, use this one specific weapon to kill this boss. Like, I feel like that's the worst aspect of the game. Like, everything with Psycho Mantis is great until it's done, and then they're like, okay, but now here's a really boring boss fight. Like, we've solved the puzzle, and now they're like, but now fight him and tickle him with every weapon you have and stuff. And I wish there was just more weirdness, and I think I'm going to regret wishing for that in the future games.
I was interested watching your video this morning because as you were describing it, I suddenly had a thought, like, wait, is Metal Gear Solid an immersive sim? And then you said it's in the video.
Oh, really?
Could Metal Gear Solid be an immersive sim? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And like in retrospect, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, by my usual definition, in that there are alternative routes you can get to places using vents, then it is easily an immersive sim. But that even in the slightly less facetious definitions, then I mean, it kind of is. I mean, Hideo Kojima's always big on if something should work, then it does.
Yeah, and that
kind of thinking
was
about
always
a place.
The thing. Yeah,
thinking about a place as like a real place, being able to use light and sound in order to get through obstacles, lighting a cigarette so that you could see infrared lasers, or needing to heat something up or cool something down by going into the rooms that are clearly hot and clearly cold and just hanging out in there while your inventory changes. It's funny
to think of it as an immersive sim because I mean, I guess it is, but there's also very clear influence from traditional arcade style gameplay. Especially in things like the interface and the top-down view and the very sort of mechanical elements of like the stealth gameplay, where the timer shows up and you have to hide until the timer switches to yellow, and then to wait for it to shift to green again.
Yeah, the item interactions, like there's a lot of there's a weird hodgepodge, because another thing I mentioned in the video is like this genre barely existed at this point in '98. Like stealth as a genre, even though we're calling it an immersive sim, stealth as a genre barely existed. Like Thief and this came out in the same year, and you got like Tenchu, which came out around the same time, but the design language didn't exist at that point. So they are taking a lot of inspiration from, like you were saying, the arcade and different spaces like that.
It's almost like a clash. It's almost a clash between like immersive narrative and traditional gameplay elements. As you said in the video, all the diegetic references to non-diegetic things like the controls.
It's so it mashed my brain. Like, I didn't like it when it first showed up. That kind of meta of like the kernel in the codex being like, "Hey, Snake, press circle to crouch, motherfucker," or press select to call us and stuff like that. Or the torture scene when they say you haven't saved in a while. It hurts my brain because I'm like, what are they talking about? Does Snake save in the game? Can he teleport back to the past? Like, but no, it's just they're crossing the lines, and it's so interesting.
There's an interesting gag in MGS4 when there's a whole chapter where you go back to Shadow Moses Island after when it's been like ruined and frozen over, and look for stuff like you left behind. And when you get to the bit in the base that was the bit in Metal Gear Solid where you have to switch discs, Otacon calls you up and says, "Sorry, Snake, it's time to switch discs. I know it's a pain." Hey,
no, but then he says, "Wait a minute. We're using new Blu-ray technology. We don't actually need to switch discs.
What the fuck?
Blu-ray can hold up to 50 gigs of data. Okay, you're good to go, Snake," and then you continue on your way.
But then more notably, Solid Snake goes, "Otacon, what the fuck are you on about?"
But that's even worse, because he's referencing that it is odd that he's speaking like that.
Yeah. I think it's the fact that he suddenly starts referencing it that's a sort of Hideo sort of knowing wink at the way that his series has.
Yeah, it feels like almost every character can become the Greek chorus every once in a while in a Kojima game and speak directly to the audience whenever they want and break the fourth wall and then, immediately repair that fourth wall.
Part of the charm. It's why we love him.
Yeah.
Truly part of the charm.
It's super weird.
What did you enter this game, and it's one of those games that is talked about ad nauseum, for one reason or for another, for Psycho Mantis or for all of those sort of things. Like, did those things kind of live up to your expectations, or is it kind of hard to come to the game 25 years later and like, are you able to like appreciate it for what it was as a time capsule in 98?
Yeah, I go to an extreme length to try and put myself mentally in the space of someone playing this in 98, and that's easy for me to do at the moment because I've just played a whole bunch of games of the era and I'm trying to stay within that space. So like in my mind I go, okay, well, 98 FF8 comes out in the next year and FF7 had just been out, and I'm like, okay, well, there's lots of, and in my Final Fantasy videos I go into the technicals of like how is this all possible? Like, this is crazy, the lengths they went to make this as cinematic as possible. And then you play Metal Gear Solid and it's like, holy shit, like there are moments in this where this is a movie, like this is an animated movie that I'm playing. And in my episode I speak about the art and all of the corners they cut and stuff like that, and especially in its character models. But I'm just astounded by the artistry of it all. And like, they clearly had a vision for the type of game they wanted to make. And I don't feel like the PS1 fully allowed them to do it. But they tried, and they were like, let's do it as much as we can. And you can see that in a lot of the changes they made in Twin Snakes. That's the GameCube one. Where they had a bit more real estate to do more cinematic things, and even with the gameplay.
I mean, that wasn't them though; that was different people.
That was completely different people.
That was Dennis Dyack.
That was the Eternal Darkness developers.
So that was Kojima was busy at the time working on, I think, Metal Gear Solid 3.
I see.
The weird thing about Twin Snakes is that they take all the cutscenes and all the action scenes, they just sort of ramp them up to 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's very much like Matrix inspired, like all slow motion diving on the bullets. It's a very silly and broken game.
If you go back to that game, listen out for how many times they use airplane noises in the action scenes. Because once you start noticing it, it's fucking everywhere.
In Twin Snakes?
Yeah, every time they go into slow motion or have someone dive across a room.
Why are we using airplane noise?
Yeah.
They also make the game stupidly easy because it carries over from a Metal Gear Solid 2. You're able to kind of aim in first person and like pull your gun out, and so like target shots. And it pulls that over, but doesn't change like the enemy geography or like the geography of the levels or the enemy layout. And so like that early boss fight against Revolver Ocelot, when there's like the guy strapped to the bombs in the middle and like the saw trap, you're able to just go into first person and very easily pick out Revolver Ocelot.
But like, so that's the stuff, and why Twin Snakes interests me so much is because they, from the research I did, especially with the bosses, they made a lot of changes to them to make it more immersive simmy, in like you have alternate ways to take down the bosses rather than just doing this one thing. Like the helicopter scene with Liquid, that boss fight where you have to shoot him with the stinger. I fucking hated that fight. I really, really disliked it. And I just come out of like, there was a scene in the game where I saw a camera and I couldn't really get around to shoot it. and I didn't have any like what they call chaff grenades, the ones that like stun all the electronics. And I was like, oh, how do I get past this? And I like picked up a grenade and just like tossed it, and it bounced off the wall and landed below it and destroyed it. And I was like, awesome. Or like I mentioned in the video, that amazing elevator scene where they're like, the weight of this elevator is too much. That like, that's odd. Oh my God, there are people in with you. Like, that's such an awesome moment. And they allow you to do whatever you want, right? Like, I stunned them and put C4 at their feet when they were stunned and killed them all. Like, but I could have used a gun. I could have done X, Y, and Z, used CQC. But in that fight, the Stinger one with the helicopter, I was like, oh, I bet I can get it. It goes below like the precipice of the building, so you can't aim at it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna toss C4 off of the building and try and get him while he's down there. And nothing I tried worked. And I was like, this feels like it's going against what the rest of the game is doing. And apparently in Twin Snakes, they allow you to do a lot more things within the boss fights. And that's what I massively appreciate of that.
Yeah, the boss fights as the series go on definitely kind of open up. Like 3, I think, especially the end in 3 is one of those prime examples of there's 20 different ways to fight this thing. And your experience in this boss fight will be different than mine.
That's awesome.
You will you be proceeding to the rest of the series?
Yes, I will. It's going to be one of the mainstays of the vote. So the next vote's going to be Final Fantasy 9 or Majora's Mask. But after that, Metal Gear Solid 2 will get folded in.
It's relatively short too, which is nice.
Oh, is it?
Yes,
okay.
I have a feeling it's going to be on the list for quite a while. Metal Gear Solid is a series.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
There's a lot of them.
I don't think I ever finished 5.
Isn't that one really long?
It's really long, but it's very clear that it was a game with very troubled development that ended up being kind of shoved out the door before the final act was done.
Yeah.
I only really like Metal Gear Solid games with Otacon in, and 5 and Peace Walker only have Otacon's dad, who's an asshole.
See, that was the thing that really disappointed me. I loved the relationship between Otacon and Snake. And I survived the torture scene, and I do want to talk about the torture scene specifically in a moment. But I was encouraged to succeed because it saves Meryl.
Yeah.
And then at the end, somebody went, "Oh yeah, but if you failed, you'd be with Otacon instead." I'm like, I wish I failed because I love their relationship so much.
Let's save the important lady who shows up in one other game and marries the joke character at the end instead of the character who's Snake's ride or die BFF for the rest of time.
That makes me extremely happy that he remains in the series. He's such a great character.
I don't know why he appeals to me so much. I mean, maybe it's just that he's the big nerd in the middle of this game full of action Supermen, and I am also a big nerd who is not an action Superman.
Yeah, he's the guy in the chair.
There's something about his and Snake's relationship that's very wholesome.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned before when we were talking about this. It's nice that they treat each other as equals.
Yeah.
In the original design doc, he was going to be fat. He was going to be a fat. Yes, he's going to be a fat nerd who was eating chocolate bars all the time he was on screen.
I can see that.
Yeah.
No, they made him scrawny. Made him a scrawny nerd.
Yeah.
Instead,
scrawny nerd.
We like both the two variations.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes.
the Laurel and Hardy.
A scrawny nerd who counterintuitively gets more sex than any other character in the entire Metal Gear Solid canon.
Snake's too dumb to know how to have sex.
Well, you say that. One of the things that shocked me about the game, it was really nice.
I guess Eva in Metal Gear Solid 3 probably had more sex.
That's true.
In her time.
Sorry
to interrupt. Go on.
It's all right. You're thinking about Metal Gear Solid 3 sex. That's fine. The thing that shocked me was that, well, one, I really like the fact that through Otacon, Meryl, and stuff like that, Snake becomes a real person. He stops just being a gruff twat and who's just there to do the mission and I don't care about anything and people die and bleh. The thing that really shocked me at the beginning of the game, mainly until he has good moments with Meryl and after the torture scene, he is constantly and everyone else is like, "Hey Snake, wanna fuck?" Everyone is constantly making remarks. There was one with what's not Mei Ling? The other handler who's like Grey Fox's sister. What's her name?
Naomi.
Naomi's like there was something about I can't remember the exact dialogue, but it's something like oh, we'll have to do a strip down. Do you want to do a strip down on me when you get back? And it's like, motherfucker, there are like 10 other people on this call. What are you doing?
This is a work call.
You know? Well, interestingly, Naomi does fuck someone, but it's not Snake.
Oh my gosh.
Dun,
is it Otacon?
I ain't saying nothing.
Well, you said it's either Otacon or that person from Metal Gear Solid 3, so
which canonically would be several decades before this.
Yeah.
It always boggles my mind. 1998, the fall of 1998, from the end of September to the middle of November, we got in the West, we got Pokemon Red and Blue, Ocarina of Time, Half-Life, Metal Gear Solid, Baldur's Gate, Grim Fandango. Like that is a wild run for like a 6 or 7 week span. Like that's kind of unprecedented.
Remember when things used to be good?
Things used to be
had
good.
A society.
We used to have a society. All I'm saying is bring Bill Clinton back.
I think it's the era. I think I'm so inspired by what these developers had to do to create their things. And I hope that comes across in the videos, because seeing these limitations in the PS1 and the N64, you know, in the consoles of those eras, the developers had to get so creative and weird just to do what today is relatively straightforward in 3D engines. And I think those limitations really pushed the devs to get creative. And back then it was so impressive that they had done something like that. I don't think a game could come out today where I'd be like, wow, that's a really crazy technical achievement. Like to create that thing. I can't really think of that.
Well, I've often complained that when they took away all the parameters and now games can just realize whatever vision anyone wants, counterintuitively, all the games have just sort of gravitated to the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, in technology, it feels like everything's kind of plateauing in terms of like, I don't know, maybe it's that or we're getting older, but like, you don't get those kind of moments of like, holy shit, this feels like magic. Plenty of good games, but just not that like something that feels like a revolutionary leap.
But I've gone back and I felt that. I've gone back and felt, holy shit, Metal Gear Solid existing is magic. Like, this is crazy that this exists. Like, if you but I have to take myself back there.
The lesser known My Little Pony spin-off, Existing is Magic.
That was I don't even understand that reference.
Something to do with magic and ponies. It's a
something has to do with magic ponies. It's that simple.
You know, My Little Pony, friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic. Existence is magic.
Yes.
Quick, Eric, edit that. Photoshop
allergic
that.
To dogs and ponies and small horses.
I had 2 little girls. Obviously, they have watched My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Of course. Of course.
That's just little girls like ponies. It's just it's genetic. You learn that from Metal Gear Solid, that girls like ponies.
Do your daughters have nanomachines in their blood?
Nanomachines, son.
Well, they've had all their government-mandated vaccines, so probably.
They definitely do, then.
Did you said some of the boss fights felt a little underwhelming. Did you have a favorite and a least favorite boss fight?
Oh, okay. Well, 10 guesses for my favorite. Psychomantis.
Is it Psychomantis? Yeah. I mean, it's very clever. It's very clever.
Yeah.
I think Sniper Wolf's pretty good.
I like Sniper Wolf. I also like Vulcan Man,
Raven.
Shaman, and also Giant.
Yes. His superpower is
communes with the crows. Yeah.
His superpower is having actual human field of vision.
Yeah.
In contrast to all the 100%.
Guards. Well, that boss fight, actually, I think maybe Vulcan was my favorite because it allows you to do it in any way you want. You can peek around the corners and snipe him. You can use the Stinger missile. You can use the play a weird minigame where you're mine C4. Like, there were times where I'd place down claymores, forgot where they were, and killed myself when he was nearly dead. Like, even though I fucked up, that's fun. I'm like, awesome, I did that, right? It's my mistake. It wasn't just sit there and shoot the Stinger missiles. I will say my least favorite fight, and if anyone watched the streams, you'll know this, will be Metal Gear X. I think it's really, really odd to have a boss fight, and I kind of complain about most of the bosses in this. I think a lot of the bosses have too much health, or you do too little damage, especially in Psychomantis. But with this one, I think the switching to first person with the stinger, which is one of your only options to take down his little radar, I feel it always feels jank. It never feels good, and it's a necessity. I found it difficult to understand his patterns, but that's just the boss fight. I got used to it. But then to have Grey Fox come in and have this, I think it's like a 5-minute cutscene. Grey Fox goes to sacrifice himself, and then Snake's like, I can't do it. Like, I get it. But then to proceed that with another phase of the boss fight, which is basically the exact same, which I then died to. What that did is it completely undercut that entire cutscene for me. And his sacrifice, because I'm like, okay, well, I've got to do it again, and I'm going to skip these things and resent that it's making me go through it again. And I died a few times, mainly because I suck. But I was like, I really wish that final phase after you come out of the Grey Fox thing was shorter, so it could allow that moment to land if people do die or get close to death, because it keeps your health total. It doesn't give you your health back. So I watch this cutscene, I come out, and I'm on 1 health, and Rex immediately fires missiles and one-shots me. And I'm like, okay, I'll do all of that again. So, yeah, it's a lot of bosses that were like that. So the actual fight itself of the Mantis fight, I think the Mantis fight is so memorable and so iconic. I don't think I'm going to argue against that whatsoever. But to then have that lengthy boss fight afterwards that you can die to, which I did multiple times, it then underpinned that entire cool moment of switching the controls and doing all that stuff, because now that part, the puzzle, is done. That stuff doesn't need to be done. So I'm just slogging through it. And also, with Psychomantis, I think it's really odd to introduce a boss that he's you can see his ribs. He's an amazing design. You can see his ribs. He's this weird BDSM demon thing, but he has health comparable to the first Vulcan fight. When you fight that tank, he has comparable health to that, if not more. And it's this is odd. I feel like the puzzle should be overcoming his psychic link and then
one
killing
hit
him
should
quickly.
Take the guy out. Yeah.
The sniper fight, Sniper Wolf, she takes a lot of damage from those sniper shots, and you feel how powerful those shots are. But then Psychomantis, it's you tickle him with whatever you hit him with. And I think that underpins him as a character. And also, it's really odd to then follow that with Snake to say, Psychomantis says, oh, you overcome my psychic link by switching the controls. And then Snake says, oh, the strong don't need to rely on, these tricks or whatever. And, but in the health totals, Psychomantis is 100% stronger than you. He takes way less damage than you. He's a tank. So I feel like him having less health would help.
Maybe he was telekinetically slowing down the bullets and fists just before they got.
100%. That's going to be the top comment with 1,000 likes on my video. 100%.
Yeah, I think my kind of last Metal Gear thought is I appreciate the fact that it doesn't seem like Kojima plays a lot of video games. I think he's on record as famously not playing a lot of video games. And so it feels like, for better or worse, he is not influenced by what happens in the larger kind of video game sphere and trends and whatnot. And I mean, you could say that, well, he's negatively influenced by trends in Hollywood, because that's clearly what he gravitates towards, and his games start to balloon more and more when it comes to kind of cutscenes and blurring the line between interactive and movies. But I don't know. It genuinely feels like he's kind of 101 in the industry, and so I'm there day one for anything he does, just because it feels dissimilar to anything else.
Unique. It's going to be unique.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure my least favorite boss fight was. My mind goes to the tank. Didn't like the tank very much.
It's a pain. Once you know what to do, it's very easy, and until then, it's kind of a pain in the ass, and it's not fun once you know what to do. And it's also just kind of a tank. I don't think fighting a big vehicle is as satisfying as fighting a person. Personally,
liquid stinger fight. I'm just why
also
am I shooting rockets at a helicopter?
You'll notice as you get to, especially in 2, 3, and 4, it tends to boss gauntlet you near the end. And so you kind of just get exhausted because in this first game you fight Metal Gear, you fight or you fight Liquid on top of Metal Gear, and then you have kind of the
on rails
the set piece, trying to escape and everything. And the rest of the games also do that to the point where you're kind of like, by the end, you're like, Jesus Christ, just get me off this roller coaster. Yeah,
give me a cutscene, man.
Even more so in 2, because they had to cut out a load of shit because they were afraid of offending people after the 9/11 attacks. But perhaps that's a story for another time.
That is a game that had to do a hard pivot at the end because of 9/11.
Oh shit, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to play 2 now. Okay, well, we'll fold that back into the votes.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. Shall we go to super chats then? Marty's going to read them out this week because I'm trying to preserve my voice. I'm feeling a bit iffy.
Yahtzee is fluey, so I shall read these out. And we still have to update our funding goal. Thank you all so much. We've reached the Fallout funding goal. We'll be starting Fallout 3, myself, Jack, and Jess, in a few weeks, and we'll have our new funding goal up shortly. But all the money coming in now will go towards that new funding goal.
What was our next funding goal? Was our next funding goal the quiz?
No, I believe the next funding goal is going to be... I think
Jess and Jenna
bingo Stardew Valley, and then the one after that is going to be the quiz.
Okay, then.
The Great American Quiz. Raven, thank you so much for your weekly word of the week. Week 52, hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia.
Hippopotamonstrous.
Can you take that one word? Oh, what was that?
Hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia. It's a very funny and hilarious in
being afraid of hippos?
It means being afraid of long words.
Why does that have
hippopotamus? Yeah, it's sort of an artificially enhanced one just for the joke. I mean, just sesquipedaliophobia would be fear of long words. They just add a bunch of extra to reference the fact that it's about long words.
I think that's a mean word, and Raven, you should feel bad for choosing that one on one of the weeks I had to read it. So very
straight
rude.
Up, yeah.
Very rude. Quintuple, thank you so much for the $2 dono. Jamate's Costco phase is strangely wholesome. You becoming a Costco boy?
Oh man, I have not shut up about Costco. Jess, I get to talk about Costco on Windbreaker.
No. It's good,
yes.
Isn't it? I like it. I once just got a huge bucket-sized jar of chocolate raisins.
Yes.
I was eating that for months.
Dude, I went by myself like an excited little schoolboy to go there. And I won't hang on this too much, but I went... Basically, everything I usually get from Stop and Shop, our local store, I got for the same price, but it gave 2, 3, or even 4 things for free. And also, when we went there, they were like, oh, by the way, because I got the executive card, because, you know, if you go in whole hog. I know, I'm just bragging. They were like, oh, you get 2% cash back on everything. And also, there's a random deal we're doing this weekend. If you sign up for a card, you're just going to get a 40 quid gift card. So I got, wait there.
And today's podcast is brought to you by Costco.
Honestly, Nick, reach out to Costco. Get that Costco membership. You got a free Zelda?
I got this for free. I know, Yahtzee, you don't like this, Echoes of Wisdom, but like, I just got it for free. So, cheers.
I mean, that's a good price for it.
Yeah.
$3.99.
So yeah, I'm a big Costco.
Did you get any food on the way out? Any hot food on the way out?
Yeah, I got. I had to get a hot dog and a drink for $1.50.
Legally
hot dogs.
I'll get
hot dogs.
A chicken bake next time.
I grew up on seasoned British sausages. American hot dogs just taste like ass to me.
Hater.
That's fair. Sausages are my favorite food, but I can appreciate just a dirty hot dog, you know?
You're not allowed to hate on hot dogs on Memorial Day. It's the one day of the year you're not allowed to hate on hot dogs. It's National Hot Dog Day.
I know of no context in which boiled meat is preferred.
Tastes good. Agreed. Run it through the garden like a Chicago dog. Ooh, baby. Sinos the Hedgehog with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Subnautica 2 has controversy with the devs denying players asking for design improvements. I think game devs and their egos need to chill. No offense to Yahtzee.
See, this is why I don't play early access and try to avoid reading about internal drama, because it's all this kind of bullshit most of the time.
Yeah. But also, like, the players might be asking for design improvements, but what the fuck do the players know?
I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm on fans developer side, the developer side here most of the times. I think fans, even the well-intentioned fans, can sometimes have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Like balance in Slay the Spire 2, people are like, "Oh, this card wasn't broken." It's like, you don't balance this game for for your life. These devs live and breathe this game. Like, you don't know.
But
I
guess it's also tricky if you release a game in early access under the guise of we're all about improving things with player feedback. Then it's kind of one of those like, well,
but the thing is, sometimes feedback can be wrong, right?
Sure,
and that's not all the time. But like, just because a bunch of people in like the players in the play space agree on like, hey, we don't like this thing, does not mean that it shouldn't be there. It might be there for when you get late into the game, you'll understand why this mechanic is like this and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, the loudest voices and all that.
Yeah. There you go. Quintuple, thank you so much with $5 dono. More meaningful attention to detail, Kojima or Rockstar games?
Well, depends what you mean by meaningful, I suppose. Kojima's attention to detail is kind of random in a fun kind of way. Like Metal Gear Solid 2, if you molest posters of pretty girls, it sets off an alert.
Kojima's attention to detail feels more like a toy box, whereas Rockstar's feels like a museum you walk through. Where it's like, look at those, the horse balls just shrunk. Like, that's different than like, look, I shot the bottom of an aquarium in Metal Gear Solid 2 and the water is slowly draining out. Or I shot an ice bucket and each individual ice cube is slowly melting.
It's weird that. I just feel there's something a little bit unwholesome about the attention to detail in Rockstar because, you know, like they had to crunch the developers for months to achieve that sort of thing.
Sure. I mean, if you think about most of your favorite games, though, the developers
that's true.
Got crunched during them.
But it's just particularly galling that they had someone make the horses go poo-poos and made their testicles shrink in the cold.
Yeah, and they probably had to miss Christmas dinner and like their birthday or whatever.
There's a lot of that in Crimson Desert as well, where a lot of the clips I've seen of people like, can you believe that the game does this? I'm like, mate, you could have taken all of that and made a better opening. Like, do that. Don't make it so you can, like, something about cooking fish with the laser from the sword or some shit. It's like 1 out of every 1,000 players is going to try that. Just take all of that dev time and put it somewhere else. That's my opinion.
Fish from a laser sword, like a lightsaber. That'd be good. Rocket powered redneck. Thank you so much for the $2 dono. Howdy.
Hello, Rocket powered redneck. I don't think I've
as well.
I don't think we've heard from Rocket Powered Redneck before. It's the first time I remember seeing the name.
Rocket Powered Redneck. You know who we haven't heard from in a while? E1 Craze for Life.
Oh yeah, whatever happened?
I missed that.
I hope you're doing all right, E1. Witticism with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Happy Memorial Day, all. Let us remember all those soldiers whose lives were lost and walked the river alongside the sorrow.
What is Memorial Day?
That's the reference to MGS3 that we probably shouldn't spoil if Jay doesn't already know about it.
We will not. Memorial Day is it's a day in honoring America's troops, past, present, and future. People who have served in the armed forces, and you usually get the day off work, except if you're us.
Is this separate to Veterans Day?
It is. It is separate to Veterans Day in that I don't think Veterans Day is a national holiday and Memorial Day is. Memorial Day is also, in my opinion, always the unofficial start to summer, and Labor Day is the unofficial end to summer. So if you want to get a little freaky deaky, you could pretend it's summer right now.
I nearly died last Tuesday. It was like 93 degrees and we have no AC. I had to shower Ludo free cold showers a day so she wouldn't die.
That's too nuts. That's too hot. I don't like that at all. Hawkeye Goff or Hawkeye Go is
who knows?
Choice.
We stumble upon the issue with the OUGH syllable in that it is pronounced differently in every single word.
Van Hoff, and they just said, "What a thrill!" You don't know what that is.
I know that reference. That's the ladder, right?
Yeah,
it is a ladder. Yeah,
that's as famous for me. Yeah, carry on.
I mean, technically, it's a reference to the theme tune of MGS3, but it's just noteworthy in that it plays while he's climbing a big ladder.
Plays that,
Do you think, is Metal Gear one of those franchises? Is it the franchise that you can glean the most from just via osmosis of being online and not playing?
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to say, because I have played
7, I guess, is another good example.
So I haven't.
Some of the bigger
Shall I tell you the things I know?
Yes.
Go on.
In MGS1, before I played it, I knew that the whole Psychomantis thing, that's just very, very famous. I didn't know that he like makes the controller wobble on the ground. That blew my mind. Does that only happen if he doesn't read your memory card? Because mine was like fresh, so he couldn't read it. He was just like, "Oh, you don't really play shit, do you?"
No, that always happens.
Okay. So I knew that. In 2, unfortunately, I think I know the most important part, which is that you don't play as Snake.
Right.
Because didn't they advertise it that you on the back of the box and everything that it's Snake?
Yeah.
And
I don't even want to tell you.
Okay. That's all I know. Is like, I think you don't play as Snake.
Okay.
And in 3, I know a couple things. I know Long Ladder. I know Lady in jumpsuit's got big Bodon Honkeros. And I know that there's an old man, and you can leave him alone in the boss fight and he dies.
Yeah, the end.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I believe every Metal Gear Solid game has a lady in a jumpsuit with big old honkers.
True.
Sniper Wolf was that.
It's a mainstay.
Yeah.
I mean, FGS4's got several, I think.
Yeah, all the beauties and beasties.
Yeah.
Hex, thank you so much for the £5 dono. Finally decided to check out the Metal Gear Solid series last week, starting from scratch. The control schemes take some getting used to. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel like it controlled, Jay, for 25 years later?
Like most games on the PS1, like ass. But
am I right in saying that it was designed so you wouldn't have to use analog sticks? Because the PS1 didn't always have
the back-end controller didn't have analog sticks until the DualShock came out.
But it was made so that you could use it. Like on this one, it says analog control compatible, so you can. And it does control really, like if you're just doing top-down, it's really good. Like I feel like it controls quite well. It's punchy. As I mentioned in the video, I really like the switching between the items and that being a necessity and stuff. None of that really annoyed me. Just a lot of the going into first person, specifically for like the Stinger missiles and stuff, like that transition was always very jarring because it locks in on directly where Snake is facing. So like on Sniper Wolf's fight, for example, you can like walk around the corner and you have to like basically jump your body towards where you want to look, then get down, then reposition it. It just all feels a little bit clunky. But again, you have to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's back in 1998 and with these developers who I've never worked in 3D, let alone top down and also first person in the same game. So, you can forgive a lot of it for sure.
Yeah. Was it Triangle was first person? Triangle is...
Yeah, Triangle goes into first person, which is another thing.
Weird,
yeah.
PS1 controller was designed with that in mind of the triangle is supposed to represent a head, so it's supposed to be like looking for your head. The square is supposed to represent a map, so it like pulls up a menu. Circle in Japan means cancel or back, whereas in the US usually circle means yes, and then X means yes in Japan, whereas in the West means no. Yeah, weird.
Is that the history? That's the history of what the button symbols are.
That's like kind of what, I don't know if it's apocryphal, but that's kind of what like was the intention, and obviously that changed.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mind you, if you're having trouble with the controls, you just wait till you play the PS2 games where the controller has it records how hard you press the buttons.
What?
Yeah, they were Metal Gear's. I think it was Metal Gear Solid 2 or 3. That if you pressed it normally, you'd grab the dude. If you pressed it really hard, you'd snap the dude's neck.
Oh, the whole thing where no. Because one of the things I disliked was the running into enemies, and if you're running and interact, you throw them. But if you're not, you grab them. So I would just position myself over thrown enemies and just like spam the grab button to like get them. All of that felt very clunky.
Did you listen to that fun
and the body's
did you fuck with the codec at all?
I fuck with the codec nearly every opportunity I could. I thought that was one of the most unique aspects of the game.
Yeah,
like
you can't avoid it, really.
Yeah, Mei Ling's little Shakespeare tidbits are kind of fun until I saved so much that they started repeating, and I was like, shut up, Mei Ling. And the chat while I was streaming did have to kind of boot me into the habit of like, I'd be like, what do I do? Like, what's happening? And people would be like, call someone. Mm-hmm. And once you get that, that's super satisfying because when you're stuck, it's not just this as we saw with FF like 8 and 7, there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, if you don't know what to do, go look at a guide, you pleb.
Yeah.
Here, it's diegetically built into the game with voice acting, and it gives you more narrative, and I'm like, that's beautiful. The codec was a great inclusion.
If you're having trouble, why not call your dad? Dad, he keeps predicting my movements.
Or call one of the many female characters and sexually harass them. That's usually what happens.
Every once in a while, you get sexually harassed. It's fine.
To be fair, it's about a 50-50 split.
Mom, I want tendies.
Mom, I want tendies. Vulcan Raven's being mean to me. Yeah, it's a funny game because I played that first game so many times, and I just don't remember what it's like to just not know the next thing to do. And so when I was playing it with Casey a few years ago on stream, and he was playing it for the first time, there'd be moments where I'm like, I could tell you what to do, but I don't know how you would just intuit it. And I think a lot of times it is like you need to rely on calling everybody and kind of listening to that. And
or they call you themselves. Like there was a couple times where I had figured out what I needed to do, but I failed at the boss fight. Again, boss fight failing because they have too much health kind of situation, where the colonel would like call me and be like, hey, have you tried this, you dumb fuck? And I'm like, yes, I know what I'm doing. I'm just bad. And that's really good. But also just exploration. Unfortunately, because I was playing on such a modern monitor, that section with the lasers, where you either use the thermal goggles or the cigarette smoke or however you want to do it, I just completely skipped. So I didn't get the goggles. I didn't have to go and get them.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just, well, if you don't know what you're doing, just explore. I mean, I have my grievances with the backtracking in the game. I know they're just reusing assets, but there's lots of going back and forth, and I will die on this hill. I think the key that changes shape based on the thermal environment it was in is a great idea, but somebody should have stopped Kojima because that backtracking is shit.
It is funny that because the game, if you just draw it out, is relatively small. Like it is a small map, but by the end, when you are having to like go back and forth, it does feel like I have good momentum. Keep me going forward. Don't make me keep going backwards.
Yeah.
For sure. Fella Guy, thank you so much for the $10 dono. As a kid, I didn't have a PS1 memory card, so I had to beat Metal Gear Solid 1 in one sitting. So I gave in during the torture scene and got that homoerotic Otacon ending, which honestly fits better with their dynamic.
Yeah, I'm offended on Otacon's behalf in that in order to get his ending, you have to fail at the torture scene, like the game's saying, oh, you're a big fat baby who wets his pants. I guess you would prefer the company of someone who is also a big fat baby who wets his pants.
Yeah, it's there should be a thing you do, and if you do it correctly, you get Meryl in the ending, and then a separate thing you do, and if you do it correctly, you also get Otacon.
Like you can save Otacon in some way.
Otacon shouldn't be a consolation prize.
Just all three of them on the same snowmobile.
That'd be nice.
Meryl on snake shoulders, Otacon on the back.
Otacon's on like one of those little sidecars that like your dog rides on.
On a motorcycle, yeah. It's like okay.
They ride into the distance and there's the Batman transition. Diddle-a-diddle-a-diddle.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I think that'd be awesome. It's like I'll take this time because I didn't mention it earlier. The torture scene. It was one of the meta things where I was kind of blown away. That I kind of thought it was a bit, have the button mashing section while someone's getting tortured. I'm like, okay, yeah. But you do it so many times, and it gives you so many options to give up. And I failed a few times and had to redo it a couple times. That the torture of the game, that it was taunting me with having to replay it. Not you're gonna die, but like you, the player, will have to replay this. Doesn't that suck?
Yeah.
Just give up. The fact that was working on me. And I was like, my arm's tired. I want to give up. I was like, wow, this is really unique that the game has implemented torture that's working. Yes. And it was really fun how I overcome it. But yeah, that's really unique.
Yeah. This game literally tortures you. Maybe leave that off the copy.
Yeah. It's so
Listen,
cool.
When there's no one to say no, that could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing. When there's no one to check your worst ambitions, this is what we get.
Yeah.
Tsunami Doucher with a $20 dono says nothing.
What a champ.
Thank you, Tsunami Doucher. And then Sinos the Hedgehog back with another $10 dono. Thank you so much, Sinos. He's a cold-hearted snake. Look into his eyes. He's been telling that one embarrassing story about the one time he got his fist stuck in your fetid asshole. Let's see who gets that reference. I did not.
Well, I get the reference to the Paula Abdul song. You know, he's a cold-hearted snake. Look into his eyes.
What's the asshole bit though? Is that a Paula Abdul lyric?
It doesn't seem like something Paula Abdul would sing about.
No,
I'm going to be honest. I'm not even a huge Paula Abdul fan. It doesn't seem like something Paula Abdul would say. But shout out to Paula Abdul and shout out to Fetid Assholes. Apparently it's a you quote.
Oh, okay.
So congrats.
I mean, I've said so many reprehensible things.
Direct fetid asshole straight from the Yahtzee's mouth.
I mean, you could just quote things we said last week and we wouldn't remember it, so it's that easy. Fuzzy Freestyle, thank you so much. Re-upping the Green Gang. Anyone remember Siphon Filter? It was like we have Metal Gear Solid at home.
Yeah, I remember the name. I remember the name. I'll probably recognize it if you showed me a picture.
It was
I don't think I ever played it.
It was a PS1 spy franchise around the same time as Metal Gear Solid 1. Way worse. Leaned a little heavier into the action. Sony Bend ended up developing it. The guys who did Days Gone later on.
That gameplay
it's one of those franchises
like
people keep saying they want back, but I don't think they do. I think it was very bad.
People don't know what they want.
Wasn't that the first game to have cover-based shooting? Or am I thinking of something else?
You might be thinking of a Windback.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking of Windback.
Second Windback?
Yeah, there was a third-person shooter called Windback, which kind of created the cover-based, almost like Gears of War shooting before Gears of War.
Wow, that should be a sin.
Truly a sin. But yeah,
I mean, all shooters in some way have cover. It's just the concept of pressing a button to pin yourself to the cover.
Peek out of it,
Does it acknowledge the cover, or do you just kind of try to place yourself in front of there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Silence the Hedgehog back with another $2. Thank you so much. Only thoughts on Metal Gear Solid is Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is awesome.
Again, not Kojima developed.
It's Platinum, right?
That was Platinum. The old Platinum.
Putting in all their Bayonetta energy.
I'm a huge Platinum fan, and I actually, while I was thinking of something to play the other day, I downloaded that game. But I knew I was going to be doing Metal Gear, and I was scared that I was going to it was connected in some way that I was going to get spoiled on, so I haven't played it.
Wait until you finish Metal Gear Solid 4 and then play this.
Yeah,
I think you'll appreciate it more once you have that.
Good. Okay, I'm glad I waited.
It sort of gives you away certain aspects of
what
they do with Raiden as a character.
I'm glad I waited.
I wouldn't say its plot doesn't have a ton of ties to it, but you'll appreciate the main character of the game more.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll wait
meet him naturally through the games.
So did I say Raiden? I meant Raiden. It's only Raiden if it's Mortal Kombat. It's Raiden if it's Metal Gear.
There you go. Very different. Two completely separate dudes.
Sound like you're Raiden Kojima's...
Yes.
Captain President, thank you so much for the $20 dono. In solemn observance of this Memorial Day, I wanted to put forth a moment of silence for Meryl's ass and its intense abundance of polygonal allocation. Alaska shall never forget.
You seem to be implying that Meryl's ass has passed away, or are you lamenting the fact that Meryl got married and her ass is no longer up for grabs?
She got married to the man who shits into garbage cans.
Yeah, well, we know who's bringing the ass in that relationship.
Yeah, garbage can shitter.
Tish.
Thank you, Captain President. Sussy Guru with a €5 dono. I feel if Kojima played other video games, he would decide to intentionally not do things in those games, in his own games, just to be different.
Probably.
Yeah. I speak about it a bit in the video of him kind of being immune to cargo cult thinking, but some of that's really good and some of that's bad. If you're there's a way that people have kind of developed 3D character controls on an analog stick controller. Everyone kind of understands the best way to do that. Or one of the big famous ones is mouse and keyboard controls, pushing people more towards WSAD and proper mouse control. Some games don't realize that that's happened and have really weird kind of jank controls. Sometimes you're you can learn good lessons from playing other games, but trying to stay unique is 100% an admirable trait and probably one of the reasons I'm going to enjoy the rest of the series.
What did you think of the way you cycle through your inventory? Kind of the shoulder buttons pulling up these two rails, almost a offensive rail and then a kind of supplemental item.
I think it's pretty neat. I probably like it more. It uses less button presses than a traditional Windows scenario.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of in thinking about inventory management a little bit outside the box, in the way that I think we've talked about in Beyond Good and Evil, the a radial text menu how that kind of thinks of a common video game thing a little bit outside the box, and in doing so can make it a little less cumbersome. What did you think about it, Jay?
I feel like it was kind of a necessity when you look at the controller in general. Like if you try and design it for not having analog sticks, a lot of the times menus are relegated to the D-pad nowadays, because that is something that isn't commonly used within locomotion. Mm-hmm. So I think it was kind of a necessity to hold down that button and then use the D-pad to cycle through specific ones. I do think it's a cool utilization, but I also think that sometimes I would want to get to a specific item and I would kind of fumble on which direction I needed to go up or down, and like which direction do I go, and I'd just be like, I'm glad it paused the game.
Yeah,
because I'm
getting rocked right now.
I feel like in a lot of games it wouldn't, because it's trying to be more immersive and like, you should have been prepped, but it's like, nah, you've paused because you're gonna have to press this 10 times to get to the thing that was just to the left.
Yeah.
But that's on me more than the game itself. I'm just an idiot.
I'm also just an idiot. Don't feel bad. Sanos the Hedgehog, thank you so much, a $2 dono. Oh yes, and the Ape Escape crossovers in Metal Gear Solid 3 and Ape Escape 3. Yeah, there was a little partnership between Metal Gear Solid 3 and Ape Escape, where
both Konami, yes.
Both Ape Escape was first party PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah, but they made it because Metal Gear Solid 3 was still exclusive at the time, and so they had a little Ape Escape minigame in Metal Gear Solid 3, and then some Metal Gear stuff in Ape Escape. They brought that over into the remake. The PlayStation version has Ape Escape stuff, and the Xbox version of the remake has Bomberman stuff, which is another Konami franchise.
Isn't there a Monster Hunter thing in one of the...
Yes,
later on in the handheld ones. Yeah, in the PSP.
In Peace Walker, you fight a monster that's based on Metal Gear X, but if it were a monster.
Yeah. There's a game that was like almost originally planned to be the original Metal Gear Solid 5 called Peace Walker. That is very much like important as a bridge into Metal Gear Solid 5.
You're gonna have to play that if you're gonna play the whole series.
I thought that was ground.
It's got a decent amount of homework.
5 has like a ground.
Ground Zeroes, which was like a playable prologue, but is not included in the actual 5 games, so it is necessary again. As
you have to play that before you move into.
It was a thing that was released separately. That contained like a single big mission and then kind of a sandbox introduction.
How long is it?
It's short.
Not long at all.
Casey and I beat it in one stream.
It's very like blatant that they just cut the prologue mission off of Metal Gear Solid 5 and sold it for an extra cash in, which is very annoying.
People being angry at that.
Yeah, it was also like the game was being delayed another year, and so they're like, we want to get something out before. I think that Ground Zeroes came out in 2014, and then the game brought.
Did they market it like it was a prologue mission?
They had a hard time marketing it. I remember a lot of people at the time being like, why the fuck are you chopping off a slice of this game and selling it to me separately? But yeah, it got some backlash. It was good, but it...
I can dig the developer standpoint there, and I can also dig the consumer standpoint. I can see both sides of that coin.
Well, it was also... In an ideal world, it would have been a free demo.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd have been nice.
Konami.
Probably, almost any other publisher would probably put it out as a free demo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Konami and Kojima's relationship they were pretty much already divorced by then. Just staying together to get this game across the finish line.
Shame.
Staying together for the kids. It's never a good idea.
That is true. Konami did learn their lesson with Kojima later on. PT was free, and then look what happened to PT. So there you go.
Oh shit.
Yes. Let's not point to PT as an example of Konami doing things correctly in the end.
Not at all. They got the pricing right. They just didn't get the longevity right. Dekanda, thank you so much for upping the Green Gang. Just appreciating listening while walking the dogs.
Is that a euphemism for something?
That's a euphemism for taking your dogs outside for a stroll.
Taking the kids to the pool.
I thought he was.
I'm going to go for a shit. Taking the kids to the pool is like going for a shit.
I thought it was a euphemism for checking for breast cancer.
Sure. Jesus. Sure. Gem on Toast with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. New fund goal. Get Jamate and Jess AC. Do we think that means Animal Crossing?
Assassin's Creed, I guess.
Assassin's Creed.
Do you just not have aircon, or do you have aircon and it's broken?
Oh, aircon. No, we have aircon. It's just there. But the apartment complex we live in, due to state and town laws, has to legally heat this building from October till the end of May, even though that rule was probably put in the 60s, and now it gets to
the
90
planet has
degrees.
heated up since then.
Yeah, it's like super warm in October until like late December. So
you know what? Give him a call. Tell him
rule.
that your friend Marty told you that Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer, and tell him to get that AC on.
I've got to wait a week. By the time they've passed that through the system, it'll be on anyway. So fuck it.
Also, is it called aircon? It's called aircon in England.
Is that not what it's called?
Yeah.
No, I don't think anyone in the US calls it aircon. We call it AC or air conditioning.
That's what it stands for, though, right? Air conditioning.
Yeah,
sure. I've never heard of aircon, and maybe I have bad friends, but I've never heard the term aircon.
Aircon sounds like a Metal Gear Solid boss in a future game.
I mean, I probably picked it up in Australia because it definitely sounds like the sort of way an Australian would shorten a word.
Yeah,
I would say
like
aircon just doesn't exist in England. Basically,
the confusing thing is there's a movie called Con Air. Is the confusing thing, and that's completely different.
When Australians have to renew their car registration, they call it their Red Joe. I gotta renew my Red Joe, mate.
Red Joe.
I mean, it's like shrimp on the Barbie, where I'm like, I don't know if you're getting anywhere quicker by just calling it a Barbie instead of a barbecue.
Isn't Con Air a really sweaty movie as well? It's kind of ironic.
It's pretty sweaty. Yes.
Yeah, a bunch of convicts on a hot plane. I think they have to land outside of Vegas for a little while.
They're all really good at Dota 2. That's how sweaty it is.
They're so sweaty. They defend so many ancients in that film.
Yes.
Tinker Mains.
Sussy Guru, thank you so much for the €10 dono. What I found when playing Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is how easy the game was when played on a mouse and keyboard compared to when I played it on a PS2. How much game difficulty is simply the result of bad controls? You know,
I had a very similar revelation playing the Dead Space remake on mouse and keyboard. Because, of course, the challenge of Dead Space is like accurately aiming at the monster's limbs. And if you've got a mouse, bam, instant. Saw off their legs. Like shoot off their legs with the line launcher, then get out the saw and finish the job like you're mowing the fucking lawn.
Most of it is controls. What controls are ultimately aiming to do in an ideal world is reduce the space between you thinking of doing an action and you doing the action, but you have to meaningfully create a skill gap between that, because as Yahtzee is saying, if you can just think, I want to shoot this thing in the head and then its head explodes, there's no challenge. Like the aiming is the challenge. So you have to balance the controls for that.
Resident Evil 4 in VR was a lot easier as well.
Oh, I really want to play that.
Yeah, I do agree that making the controls simpler doesn't necessarily make the game better or more enjoyable. Like sometimes the friction of controls is the game. There's a
difference, There's a difference between like interfacing with something like a menu and controlling the game, right? Like, you thinking, I want to go to the options, and it takes 10 clicks to get to the options menu. That doesn't benefit or create meaningful friction within gameplay. But like adding a little bit like alert to like and delay to aiming does add friction that can manufacture cool moments and stuff like that. So it really depends on the systems.
I always think of how in GTA 4 it would take ages to get anywhere because you have to drive there and get around traffic and all that. And look at a modern sandbox and they just give you fucking grappling hooks and fast travel right out of the gate. And it just doesn't feel like there's the same. The world doesn't feel as immersive somehow.
Friction's really important.
Yeah. I'm trying not to. Thank you, Gelden. I'm trying not to. Do you guys ever play open world games and try not to use fast travel?
Spider-Man being the best example for me.
Yeah, Spider-Man is a game where it's just I never use fast travel just because it's fun to get around.
Yeah.
But I feel like playing something like Assassin's Creed, like Shadows without fast travel would be something you'd do as a sort of skill run if you were really, really bored and wanted to listen to podcasts for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, I've been playing, I've just been kind of fucking around like an hour a day with Forza Horizon 6. That's the one that's set in Japan. I've been having a good time just kind of as my like brain off open world game.
Unwind,
And I've been trying to do it without fast travel because there's just so much to do that it's kind of like, I'll just go in this direction and find an activity. One thing I don't like, though, is when it's like, okay, I'm going to go into Tokyo because there's a bunch of activities to do. And then you do the first activity and it's a race that takes you all the way outside of Tokyo. And then the race is done and you're like 3 miles outside of Tokyo. And I'm like, well, shit, I wanted to be in Tokyo. Like that was the point of wanting to be here.
there needs to be meaningful things within the world for me to interact with to want to do that, right? Like within GTA, it's a lot of the sandbox, like ludic play kind of random events that are popping up. Same in Red Dead Redemption 2. There are always little things, and you kind of want to do that, even though Yahtzee, you've spoken about it a whole bunch, that the actual traversal in Red Dead 2 is kind of boring and mindless. At least there are things along the way. That's what you're doing it for. If it's just I'm driving from point A to B and there's no side challenges or stuff like that, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
it's just
like Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring are good examples of games with usually you want to run from point A to point B because you'll find something cool.
See if you can spot it. Well, I'm getting that in Batman, which
I was about to bring
teleport
up
in the Batman game. Oh yeah, go for it. What have you got on that?
I haven't been fast traveling in Batman at all because that game is thick with
jam-packed
challenges and like everywhere you look there's like these elaborate Riddler puzzles and puzzles to unlock Wayne Tech boxes that are basically the same as Riddler puzzles
to collect.
Although it does have the issue that a lot of the stuff you can only get once you've unlocked all the abilities, so there's not really any point in engaging with the sandbox until you got to the end of the game and unlocked everything.
I've just encountered that. I hit three things in a row, and I was like, I can't do that. Oh fuck, okay.
And I hate hitting a thing and not knowing. Like one of the first times you get into the open world of Arkham in the Lego Batman game, you're like, I found like I was like, oh, is there like a trick to opening this box? And after like a few minutes, I'm like, oh no, I'm just not allowed to do this yet. I thought I was like missing a puzzle or something.
And I can't mark the map. I hate that I've found something and I'm not allowed to leave a mark on the map of like I will come back to this. Like that would solve that issue for me. But they're just like, no, fuck off, mate.
I think on the map, if you find a challenge, like a Riddler challenge or something that you can't solve yet, there'll be like a padlock on the icon on the map.
Oh, okay, cool. I couldn't see that on the map. Maybe that's because I was stood directly on it. So that's my bad.
Yeah, so I think so. But it's still kind of annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. That was it for Super Chats at the time.
Oh, well, I guess it's time to wrap things up. Thanks for listening to the Windbreakers podcast. I was Yahtzee Crucial, as I said at the start. But, some people come in halfway through. Ain't no shame in that. You do you. I was joined by Jay and Marty, as always. This week, I've got a fully emblematic on the subject of Mina the Hollower. Again, we've finally got putting out a review timely with the embargo drop.
Thank you, devs.
So, because I think it's the very day of the embargo, I think.
I believe Wednesday. Your review will be up Wednesday, and I believe Wednesday morning the review embargo drops in the game.
That's got to feel good, man.
Out later on in the week.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they'll be doing that with Lego Batman. Or probably 007 First Light either. Because it's a bit late to get
early access.
I got that on pre-order, man.
Oh no, yeah, it's a bit late to get the review code in for that. Oh well.
Yeah, I saw several people complaining about that. Like it wasn't just us who got it late last week. Like everyone got it late last week, and it's like the game is out on Tuesday, and it's a 3-day holiday weekend, and you're sending out the game on Friday. So
do we have it now?
I thought so. I thought
Well, I see it's on
in the account. I don't know if it's playable. I'm just waiting to.
No, it's not playable. We've just got it in the account.
My mistake.
Buckers. So they sent out a code for a game, but can't have access to it until early access. Weird.
Yeah, the early access is tomorrow, and the game comes out on Wednesday. I believe.
That's not much early access, is it? Mina the Hollower, no, not Mina. Lego Batman gave you like 3 days.
Yeah, so did Forza. I'm not. I don't. Sometimes we have to do this early access thing on the because of our jobs. I don't like this whole pay an extra $10 to get 3 days early.
Yeah,
I think that is a shitty precedent that these companies are setting.
Yes, I hate having to like reward them with money for doing that.
They're preying on their mega fans. I think that sucks.
And also game journalists, which given YouTube is like half of the user base now.
That's the thing is like we get those because it's like, well, sometimes having 3 days early on something is the difference between having to work a weekend or not having to work a weekend, or being able to get something done on time or not.
Well, quite.
It's like
not
my most anticipated. Yeah, right.
Not that we're complaining about having a job where we get to play video games all day.
No, minor gripes.
It kind of messes over people who like physical stuff as well, because 007 might be my most anticipated game of the year at the moment. And I would definitely be jumping on an early access thing, but I've pre-ordered it physically, so I'm like, okay, I'll just wait.
Anyway,
I have to wait asleep,
We've tangented a bit. I was trying to wrap up. Yes,
Sorry.
as well as fully ramblomatic, my Wednesday stream, Yahtzee Tries, will go out the same day, 1 p.m. Pacific time, as always. And then there'll be the Yahtzee Tries compilation video and compilation of all the funny clips and reviews and stuff that will go out on the Sunday. And I believe this Saturday is Adventurers Night Day.
Yeah,
That's
one
right.
back
Yeah,
on
episode 2. That's our first full episode with all 6 of us.
Oh my goodness! Perhaps we'll even get the animated intro sequence finished by then.
Ooh, doggy.
Ooh. Yep, that's my stuff. Plug other stuff.
Jay, your video went up this morning.
Yes, I have. If you've enjoyed our chat about Metal Gear Solid, I have an 18-minute video diving into all of the things I noticed and will remark on. I had a really, really fun time working on it, and the next vote for the next retro Never Played Before game is going to be tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. EST, and it's going to be between FF9 and Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask has lost out twice in a row, so we'll see if it loses again.
That's a tough choice.
One more time, then one's going to hit the town.
Because I kind of like both games, which is weird for me.
Yeah. Most people have liked the alternate game as well. So we'll see.
Outside of Final Fantasy VIII, you've been picking good games.
Well, people just wanted to see that burn. Right?
It was necessary.
It was, and I'm really looking forward to 9. But I won't be mad if Majora's wins because I'm also looking forward to actually properly diving into that. I've only ever played the intro. If it gets a
majority of the votes. Cool.
That's me.
And then you guys are gonna have Dev Heads on Friday? Question mark.
Yes. Potentially, it's kind of up in the air because, as we alluded to last Dev Heads, Tina has started a new thing, which is very exciting for her, but it has kind of thrown the Dev Heads schedule up in the air a little bit. So we're going to be sorting that out, and you will see that in the schedule on Discord once we have a final situation sorted for that. So yeah, potential Dev Heads on Friday.
Right. And then should have normal stuff the rest of the week. We got Hidden Gems, Hot Money Energy tonight. They'll be playing that. What's that? Luna Abyss? Is that what the game's called? You guys
Yeah, I'm playing that. I rather enjoy it. It's like Returnal, but if it wasn't a roguelike.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And then tomorrow we should have more Jack and Jenna, and then we'll have normal streams for the rest of the week, and we should have edited videos almost every day. We got a bite size from Jess, we got a couple video essays from Casey and Jesse. So tune in to all of those wonderful things.
All right. Well, that's all coming up. But as for us right now, we'll be saying fare thee well. Okay, see you next time. Enjoy your Memorial Day holiday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.